Baltimore Ravens are as close to a must-win situation as possible in Week 5 against the Houston Texans, and they can use a secret weapon to pick up their second one of the season. We talk about that and so much more coming up on Locked On Ravens.
You are Locked On Ravens, your daily Baltimore Ravens podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Ravens. Welcome into the show. I'm your host, Kevin Oestreicher of Ravens Wire, here with you on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks so much for being here on this Sunday game day edition of the show, making Locked On Ravens a part of your day and your first listen each and every single day. And thank you out there to all the everydayers, the first-time listeners, and if you're somewhere in the middle, thank you as well. 5 days a week plus more of daily Ravens coverage and a whole lot of game day content as we have these game day morning episodes. Plus, we do the Locked On Ravens watch-alongs during the game, so we'll be back here at 1 p.m. doing that. Plus, after that, we'll have the instant reaction show reacting to the game, then the Locked On Ravens squad show with myself, Sam and Joker, and former Ravens receiver Kadri Ismail. So plenty of content coming your way here today and every day on Locked On Ravens relating to this Baltimore Ravens team. We have a jam-packed episode. We're going to dive into how the Ravens can beat the Texans and how they can use a secret weapon to do so. Then in the second part of the show, we'll dive into some key players to watch, some stats behind both teams as well. And then we'll get into some final predictions and more in the final part of the show. I want to tell everybody and remind everybody this episode is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. Mazda, move and be moved. Man, as I said at the top there, truly this is a must-win situation as you can be in for the Ravens right now. And I know, look, I said last week, Chiefs game, that was a must-win, but it wasn't must-win in terms of like your season is over. It's must-win in terms of, well, man, the vibes would be really bad if you start the year 1-3. Well, we're here, and guess what? I was correct. The vibes, they're pretty bad. They're pretty bad right now. So they're going to hope to get back on track here. Obviously, we know they're going to be doing that or attempting to do it without Lamar Jackson, who is not going to play in this game. The Ravens made a couple of moves on Saturday. Cooper Rush is going to start, but they elevated Tyler Huntley and CJ Okoye from the practice squad. No other roster moves were made, but there are still some guys whose statuses are up in the air right now. So just to go quickly over the injury report, the players who are not playing, they're already out. Chidobe Awuzie, Marlon Humphrey, Lamar, Patrick Ricard, and Roquan Smith. They're all out. Players who are going to play who were on the injury report at some point during the week. Looks like here, Travis Jones, no injury designation. Tyler Linderbaum, no injury designation. Brent Urban, no injury designation. Kyle Van Noy, no injury designation. And Nate Wiggins, no injury designation. Nate is a huge one, by the way. Really, really big that Nate will be on the field here for the Ravens. No injury designation for him. Also, going to be interesting to monitor Jaire Alexander's situation. Seems like he's getting closer and closer. He could definitely suit up this week. We're going to see how that unfolds. But the players who are still in question, Odafe Owe, Ronnie Stanley, Tez Walker, and Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton's the big one. And, you know, if you don't have, in my opinion, the leader of your offense in Lamar Jackson and the leader of your defense in Kyle Hamilton, it could be tough sledding here, but there are ways the Ravens can win this game. Season is not over. I know it feels that way. Not great football played outside of one game for the Ravens, or I guess, technically like 1 9/10 games of good football because the Ravens just couldn't shut the door on the Bills. But even so, your record says you're 1-3, and your record, in my opinion, is what you are. And for the Ravens in this game, we got a report from Jeremy Fowler on Saturday. And this report, I think, got everybody in Baltimore buzzing because everybody, I said it, everybody's been talking about it. Keaton Mitchell, he's the guy. He's the secret weapon. He's the one that everybody has been begging for John Harbaugh to make active and for the Ravens to make active. Well, we got the report from Jeremy Fowler, and it was the one that everybody was waiting for. He says that Keaton Mitchell, he is expected to be active for the first time this season, Sunday versus Houston. And even Jeremy Fowler is acknowledging, hey, it gives Baltimore and Cooper Rush a speed option out of the backfield. This is probably some of the best news that the Ravens could get, or at least that everybody could get regarding the Ravens, because I just don't know how you could keep this guy out for any longer. And actually, Sam and Joku and I on the Friday edition of the show, we were talking about the run game and the Ravens. We'll get to that here in a minute. But Sam and I were talking about how the Ravens need to utilize the run game, and how Keaton Mitchell can be a big part of that. And look, Sam left nothing to the imagination on how he felt about Keaton Mitchell and whether he thinks he should be active or not. Even that little sliver of hope is a change from what we've heard from John Harbaugh on that front. You and I talked about it last week. We both believe that Keaton Mitchell could be a big asset to this team, especially if they do start running the ball more and he's up.
Give me a second. Is this thing on?
Yeah.
You better play Keaton Mitchell.
There you go.
You better play Keaton Mitchell. There's no excuse for not having him play the first 4 weeks of the season. There certainly isn't a place to have any type of opinion if you do not play Keaton Mitchell with the loss of Lamar Jackson, with what's going on with your running game, with your run defense. Keep the ball away from the opposing offense. If your defense is struggling, how do you do that? You control the time of possession. You run the ball and you do it effectively. You got that part down. You choose not to do it. You choose not to run the ball.
So that's what everybody's saying, right? It's, man, play Keaton Mitchell, put him on the field. And Keaton, 100, 1,000, 1,000,000% deserves to be out there in this game. I mean, you look at his career stats. I know 2024 wasn't really the best for him because he was still trying to figure things out, get back. He clearly wasn't feeling like himself. But do we forget? I mean, I'm sure, look, a lot of, I think, people who cover the team, watch the team, or fans of the team, like, we haven't forgotten it, right? The Ravens, they saw a guy in his rookie season, undrafted out of East Carolina, come onto that field in 2023 and average 8.4 yards per carry on 47 carries. That's a guy that you can use, and he looked awesome during the preseason. It's not like he looked bad during the preseason. This is the guy that I think can win you this game against Houston, because I think they're going to run Derrick Henry and run him a lot in this one. Keaton Mitchell can be your change of pace, your speed option, like Jeremy Fowler said. And we talked so much this offseason about, man, like the three-headed monster of Derrick Henry, Justice Hill, and Keaton Mitchell was that third guy. All of them bring such different skill sets. You want to run the ball against this Houston defense, but you don't want to throw on them right now. In terms of yards per attempt, Houston is not a great run defense. I mean, they're kind of middle-ish of the league. They're 18th in terms of yards per attempt given up on the ground at 4.2. It's the pass defense that's strong for them right now. They're 5th in the league in yards per attempt there. Also, they are the number 1 defense in terms of points given up on the year. So that it's not a defense that gives up a lot of points, but I think that with Derrick and Justice and Keaton, that to me can win you this game, because with Cooper Rush, he just has to be a game manager, in my opinion. I know the term, it's been the meaning of it itself has kind of been used in a negative way to describe certain quarterbacks, but literally, if Cooper Rush just doesn't make mistakes, limits, the putting the ball in harm's way, and uses the weapons, and there is a heck of a cast of weapons around him, I think that the Ravens can win this game, despite there being no Lamar Jackson and some other key injuries there as well. So coming up in the second part of the show, continue diving into Keaton Mitchell and Derrick Henry and the run game, and some key players to watch both offensively and defensively for both teams. Stay tuned. Plenty coming your way on this game day edition of Locked On Ravens. This episode is brought to you by Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. There are certain businesses that make the neighborhood the neighborhood. These are the places that become an extension of home, whether it's the sports bar dedicated to your team's fan base, the spot with the best wings in town for game day, or that beloved local chain that's been rooted in your community for years. These businesses are what bring people together. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. And sports are something that bring neighborhoods together, whether it's gathering for game day rituals, celebrating with the best wings in town, or just being a part of a fan base that calls the place home. And in Baltimore, Be More Licks, Fed Hill. I mean, Fed Hill is absolutely incredible on game days. Everybody's supporting the Ravens. Everybody's cheering. And it really, it's incredible to see the sense of community you get when you're in a place like that. So Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/LockedOnNFL to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square, see you in the neighborhood. This episode is brought to you by Mazda's moving the game forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, move culture, and keep moving the game forward. This week's moment that moved the game forward is Justice Hill scoring at both the beginning and the end of the Ravens' Week 4 loss to the Chiefs. Now, it wasn't a good game for the Ravens. I'm not trying to say it was, but Justice Hill, even as the game got out of hand, he kept trying to make an impact after making the initial impact. And that late touchdown from him, moving the game forward. That's exactly the definition. I think Justice Hill showed a lot of fight there. Someone who just kind of struggled to start the season, but all you got to do is move forward, move on to the next one. And Justice Hill made the most of his opportunity in that Week 4 matchup. So that to me is a positive outlook, and that should keep the fans moving forward as well. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Moving along on Locked On Ravens, Kevin Oestreicher still here with you talking Ravens football on this game day. Ravens Texans Week 5 action. Ravens need this one badly, and of course we'll be here reacting to it live every single play at 1 p.m. We'll be doing every play on the watch along, so be sure you check out that, the Instant Reaction Show, and the Locked On Ravens Squad Show. It's like 6 straight hours of content starting at 1 p.m. on game days or whenever the game starts on game days. So thank you to all the supporters out there who have supported this show for years, whether you watch in video form or listen in audio form. It's the same show, both audio and video. We just hit 15,000 subscribers a couple days ago in video form, and the audio form community just continues to grow and grow and grow. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Tell a friend, tell a family member we're here for them, just like we're here for you on Locked On Ravens. Now, an interesting stat about CJ Stroud playing the Ravens, because again, defense I think is going to be the name of the game here, because regardless of if this offense can put up points, it was something that I kind of felt and I actually talked about on the watch along in Week 4 as we were watching it live with the Chiefs. I was like, look, even if Lamar Jackson or whoever is out there can stage this massive comeback, you still have to throw that defense out there. And that defense, the way it's playing, or at least the way it has played, there's no confidence in that defense for me right now. I don't think anybody really who's rooting for the Ravens outside of the people in the facility have confidence in that Ravens defense right now. And again, just some of the stats, and again, you might want to cover your ears if you don't want to hear them because they're bad. Right now, they're the worst defense in the league at points given up at 133. Right now, they're the second worst defense in the league at yards given up at 1,627. They're 30th in the league at first downs given up, 31st in the league in passing yards allowed, 31st in the league in rushing touchdowns allowed. I mean, just across the board, they're like bottom 5, definitely bottom 10, and sometimes bottom 2 or 3 in almost every major defensive statistical category. Their conversion rates aren't good. So look, getting guys hopefully back, and I'm saying hopefully even for guys that don't have designations, because it's not official until they're actually active at 11:30 here, when an hour and a half before game time. So guys like Travis Jones, Kyle Van Noy, Nate Wiggins, even Jaire Alexander, like those guys will all help the defensive unit. But then you have to wonder, like, okay, well, you might be getting those guys back, but are you going to have Kyle Hamilton? Or are you going to have Odafe Owe? Marlon, Humphrey, and Roquan Smith aren't playing in this game. And I want to make this clear too. Guys like Marlon and Roquan, even Owe, like to an extent, those guys have not been all world players through the first month of the season. I mean, Roquan and Marlon in particular have struggled pretty mightily. And look, if these young players come in, Teddy Buchanan and Malaki Starks, CJ Tampa maybe has a big role in this game. Like, you start to see some of that. Keon Martin plays in the slot and plays well. There will probably be conversations about moving off of both players among the fan base, starting up pretty quickly, because you can move off of them, both those guys, in the offseason if you're the Ravens, and save a chunk of like $7 or $8 million each, if I'm not mistaken there. You can save a lot more for Roquan the next year, but we're going to have to see, because Roquan has looked slow to start the season. Marlon has looked out of place. Like, it's not like the defense was playing well with the stars in. Even a guy like Nnamdi Madubuike, who was playing really well, he's lost for the season now. Even a guy like him, the Ravens defense wasn't playing well. So it's about Zach Orr putting his guys in the right positions and the players making the right plays. You can get something going here. This Texans offense, the offensive line is, in my opinion, the worst in the league. It is absolutely atrocious. And it's not like their offense is like wowing anybody right now. They're the 20th ranked rushing offense in the league in terms of yards per attempt, and the 18th best passing offense. This is a middling to not so great Texans offense. Obviously, you got to worry about Nico Collins, but I mean, that's really it. Woody Marks had a breakout game against Tennessee last week, but we're going to have to see how that committee looks between Marks and Nick Chubb. Dalton Schultz is the tight end there, but outside of Nico Collins, like, you have to worry about Christian Kirk and a couple of rookies. Xavier Hutchinson has stepped up for them. So, I mean, I think that the Ravens, it's going to be about, can you stop that? Because if you cannot stop that Texans offense, not going to be great. Not going to be great. Because again, CJ Stroud against the Ravens in his 3 starts in his career, 2 regular season, 1 playoff, 0 offensive touchdowns for the Texans offense in those 3 games. 0. CJ Stroud has not seen an offense he has led score an offensive touchdown in 3 games against the Ravens. Now, it's a much different Ravens defense now compared to what it was during those matchups, yes. But, it feels like in the vibe right now from like Texans social media, Houston social media is, people are talking about, hey, we're suiting up for the Ravens defense on Sunday. And Texans fans still expect to get blown out by 40, considering how that Christmas Day game went last year, which, by the way, that Christmas Day game is the last time the Ravens defense forced a turnover against a team that is not the Cleveland Browns. So they need to get momentum here. Obviously, 1-4 is an extremely tough spot to be in with a very mad Rams team coming to Baltimore next week after how they lost. Sean McVay beside himself with his play calling. And, it's going to be a motivated Rams team. For the Ravens, you got to be motivated to get back to 3-3 before the bye. But I think a lot of people would be happy with 2-4 even. But, 1-5, you start getting into some pretty dangerous territory. So again, like, the Texans offense doesn't scare me, but the Ravens defense does. That's the problem. Like, the Texans offense, yeah, it's not great, but man, the Ravens defense is awful right now. And we see, like, we've read out splits on this show before of Nnamdi Madubuike on the field versus off the field, Kyle Hamilton on the field versus off the field. If those 2 guys aren't able to go, man, there's no one that can replicate what Kyle Hamilton does on that field. And the Ravens currently don't have anybody that can replicate what Nnamdi Madubuike does out on that field. So you got to stop these guys early and often. Don't allow them to extend drives. Again, I mentioned the conversion rates for the Ravens defense this year, 24th and 3rd down conversion rate, 27th and 4th down conversion rate, and 28th in red zone. For the Texans offense, on the other hand, you have them. Their 3rd down offense is awful. It is awful. They're 31st. They're second to worst. They're the 2nd worst offense in the league at 3rd down and 2nd worst in red zone. You cannot allow a big game to these guys. You cannot do it. This is an offense that you should be able to just dominate. But the problem is, you might not have the personnel to do it. You might not have the play calling to do it. And if you can't do it against this team, they're already in a heap of trouble, but you're cooked. You're done if you allow that offense to get on a roll, considering how they've looked so far this season. Coming up, though, in the final part of the show, we'll keep diving in to some key matchups to watch, key players. We'll focus on the Ravens offense. And again, Cooper Rush, we talked about that run game. Derrick Henry, it's got to be a game for him. It has to be for this Ravens team. So stay tuned. We'll talk about that, final predictions, and a lot more on Locked On Ravens.
I'm Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs. With features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance, you can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go, while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
Continuing on Locked On Ravens, Kevin Oestreicher here with you. Game day, Ravens, Texans. love doing these game day episodes in the morning to pump people up, get people ready for the game. It's the pregame show here on Locked On Ravens. If you're heading down to the stadium for the game, man, the Ravens need all the help they can get. So I'm hoping to hear a loud atmosphere, fans cheering on everybody. And, the Ravens, I know they feed off of the energy in the stadium. So I'm hoping the energy is electric today, even though I know the play on the field for the Ravens hasn't been electric this year for the most part. Again, you can follow me over on social media, Oestreicher34, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok as well. We have so much content for you on Locked On Ravens every single day. We had a bonus episode yesterday with Ravens long snapper Nick Moore. We talked about Cam Newton's challenge to the Ravens, Cooper Rush, and, Nick's perspective on what's going on with the team. And Nick will pop on with us usually every week. Sometimes we got to work out the schedule and it doesn't work out for a week, but Nick's going to come on a lot, and he has come on a decent amount so far. So be sure to check out all of the content we have. Great guests, great content. And again, daily Ravens coverage for you each and every single day. So let's keep talking about predictions and stuff about stats and then the whole 9 yards here. Derrick Henry. I need to make the emphasis about Derrick Henry in this offense because, again, Cooper Rush is someone who has filled in for Dak Prescott in the past. That's why the Ravens brought him in for this exact scenario, to where if Lamar has to miss a couple of weeks. I talked about this for a long time on Locked On Ravens during the offseason because there was a whole controversy about Cooper's contract and why would the Ravens pay a backup $12 million. Well, the reason is they felt like he was one of the better backups in the league, which I think is true. Does he fit the Ravens offense like a glove? No. But I still think that he's someone that the Ravens feel like they can rely on more than they have, relied on guys like Tyler Huntley, who is going to be up. We might see a couple Tyler Huntley plays, who knows? But Huntley, Josh Johnson, etc. there. Cooper Rush is going to be able, like, again, you're going to want to make it very simple, push the ball down the field maybe once or twice, maybe see if you can get a rhythm. But it's going to be, I think, mostly short stuff, intermediate stuff, kind of take what the defense gives you. For Derrick Henry, they need to run this man more than they've ever run him before. And actually, I'll look up what his career high for the Ravens is in terms of carries, but whatever it is, he needs to obliterate that. Is his crazy that his season high is only 18 for 2025. Wow. I didn't actually realize that. Let's see. 2024 for Derrick Henry, he comes in with his high of 27. So, man, hey, 30 carries for Derrick Henry, because Derrick Henry, he likes playing this Texans team. And by the way, that 27 was, funny enough, against the Texans on Christmas Day last year. So another game like that, they need it. And again, Henry, his success against the Texans extends far beyond that Christmas Day game with the Ravens. He played in Tennessee for a long time. Texans and Titans in the AFC South. They play twice a year consistently. Derrick Henry against the Texans in his career, 280 carries for 1,578 yards and 13 touchdowns. He had a stretch of 4 games from 2019 to 2022 where he put up over 200 rushing yards in each of those games. Didn't score less than 2 touchdowns in any of those games either. I mean, he is a beast against Houston. He did struggle a little bit in both 2023 matchups against Houston. That was his last year in Tennessee before coming to Baltimore. But man, this is a game like Derrick Henry. This is going to have to be like the old Tennessee playbook when he was there, all right? Like with Ryan Tannehill and all those guys, just give the ball to Derrick, let him do his thing, and play complementary football around him. And if you're able to get Derrick going early, again, the offensive line has to be able to block for Derrick. Now, Derrick had a great game against the Chiefs. The issue is the Ravens just wouldn't run the ball. So it all kind of goes back to when you're talking about, okay, get Keaton involved. Well, first you got to make Derrick the focal point of the offense. And then I think Keaton and Justice, those opportunities will come for them. But if the Texans defense has to start cheating up on Derrick Henry, stacking the box, because again, a lot of what Lamar brings to the table is eliminated when you have Cooper Rush on the field. He's just not that same threat athletically, and that's fine. And in the run game, that's not a part of his game. Cooper Rush is, a lot more of just, hey, I'm going to be in the pocket, and that's where I'm going to be. So that part is like defenses don't have to worry about that. They can kind of pin their ears back more, but they can't do that if the run game is established, which, again, that is the weak point of Houston's defense, 18th in run defense compared to 5th in pass defense. So That's where I'm attacking Houston personally. Try to get him on the outside a little bit, run some toss plays, and you can factor in some misdirection in there as well. But you have to do anything you can to get him going, because if you can't get Derrick Henry going, it's going to hurt not only your run game, but it's going to hurt your pass game too, because the Texans can just key in on that, knowing that they're stopping Henry with consistency. So, for me, I know with the way this Ravens defense is playing, not having Lamar Jackson and not having Kyle Hamilton potentially, we don't know at the time I'm recording this right now. It's easy to see plenty of pathways for a Ravens loss. And trust me, there are plenty of pathways for a Ravens loss. There are a lot. Texans right now, they're a team that is coming off a really big win against Tennessee, but Tennessee's not a good team. Before that, Texans had lost their first 3 games of the year. So it's not like the Texans are the caliber of the Bills or the Lions or the Chiefs. Yes, they're a division winner from last season, but this game is kind of like the tale of underachievers, much like last week was too. And you don't want to be on the losing end of that for the second week in a row, because if you go to 1-4, you're in a heap of trouble, especially again with that Rams team coming to town next week. So I'm going to say the Ravens win this one. I'll go 24-23 Ravens. Like literally, it's going to be a close game. I just think that the Ravens will respond. Now, if they don't respond this week, yeah, you kind of lost me there if they don't respond this week, despite the injuries. Because again, we saw Kyle Shanahan lead a decimated San Francisco 49ers team to a win on Thursday Night Football. And that, to me, going up against, in my opinion, a Rams team that is one of the contenders in the NFC this season, that was a big statement win. The Texans are a worse team than the Rams are. Yes, I think the Ravens' injuries are worse, but this is going to be a big coaching game, right? Can John Harbaugh get his guys up to go fight here, go win a game? Can Todd Monken and Zach Orr call better games, put their guys in better positions? That's going to be a big storyline to me. So I'm going to go 2024, 2023, because this truly, to me, is the definition of if not now, when. If not now, when. So I'll go Ravens 24-23. Maybe it's going to come back to bite me, but that is where my prediction lies for this week. Hopefully it comes true. We'll be back here later today on Locked On Ravens, doing the Locked On Ravens watch along during the game. And then, of course, after the game, we'll have the instant reaction show, as well as a Locked On Ravens squad show with myself, Sam and Joku, and former Ravens receiver, Kadri Ismail. So be sure on the way out, hit the like and subscribe button in video form, follow along and subscribe in audio form, and I will see you right back here soon on Locked On Ravens.